What does it really take for an actor to step into the most painful moment ever recorded in human history? Not the spiritual weight, that part we often talk about. I'm talking about the physical reality, the body, the endurance, the discipline, the choice to suffer, not for attention, but to honor the story. Before filming the crucifixion scenes for season 6 of The Chosen, Jonathan Roumie made a decision that almost no modern actor would make. He didn't chase a sculpted physique. He didn't try to look like a Hollywood action hero. Instead, he pursued something far more difficult: historical truth. Why would an actor willingly choose discomfort over glamour? What kind of preparation does it take to carry a cross for hours, repeat scenes of collapse and exhaustion, and remain mentally present through some of the most emotionally demanding moments of the entire series? And what does his training reveal about the responsibility of portraying Jesus with honesty rather than spectacle? In this video, we explore Jonathan's unusual physical preparation, simple, intense, and purpose-driven, and the deeper mindset behind it. If you stay with me until the end, you'll see why the way he trained may be one of the most inspiring parts of his entire performance. When Jonathan Roumie began preparing for the crucifixion scenes, he and his trainer agreed on something simple but crucial. The body shown on screen should reflect the world Jesus actually lived in, not the expectations of modern entertainment. That decision shaped everything that followed. Most actors preparing for physically intense roles focus on muscle size, dramatic transformations, or strict aesthetic goals. Jonathan did the opposite. Instead of chasing an impressive look, he wanted a body that made sense, a body shaped by long days on foot, practical work, and constant movement. Historically, Jesus would not have been bulky. He would have been lean, durable, and accustomed to physical labor. So the first step was not a gym routine. It was 10,000 steps per day. This number wasn't chosen for trend or symbolism. It was chosen because it mimicked the rhythm of ancient life. Walking daily increased Jonathan's calorie burn naturally, lowered stress on his joints, and allowed his body to lean out without extreme dieting. More importantly, it taught him consistency. Unlike a hard workout that ends in an hour, walking is a discipline you carry throughout the entire day. It changes how you breathe, how you sleep, and how your energy flows. But endurance alone wasn't enough. The crucifixion scenes demand more than stamina. They require the ability to hold, drag, and lift a heavy cross through repeated takes. What viewers often don't see is how exhausting that process is. One scene can take dozens of attempts. Lighting must be changed, angles reset, emotions recalibrated, and through all of it, the actor's body has to endure the physical strain without breaking down. Jonathan trained for this by keeping his routine simple and repeatable. Filming schedules rarely give actors access to fully equipped gyms, so he adapted to whatever environment he found himself in. Most of the time, that meant basic hotel gyms with minimal equipment, rather than seeing that as a limitation. He treated it as an opportunity to focus on essentials. Simple tools meant fewer distractions. The lack of complexity forced him to rely on effort, not machines. The backbone of his training was a set of exercises performed with intensity, but not excess. Wide grip pull-ups became a daily test of strength and discipline. He performed them to failure each time, which built the upper back and shoulder stability required to carry the cross. Single-arm cable pulls allowed him to work deeper muscles that support posture, crucial for scenes where he must stand, collapse, and rise repeatedly. Then came dumbbell work, single-arm rows, chest-supported rows, and controlled pulling movements strengthened not just the large muscles viewers see on screen, but also the smaller stabilizers needed to handle awkward weight distribution. These exercises might look basic, even unimpressive, but they are exactly what builds real-world durability. Jonathan wasn't training to look good. He was training to withstand. That difference changed the entire outcome of his preparation. Even with all the strength and endurance work, Jonathan's preparation still needed one more pillar: protection against injury. Crucifixion scenes involve repetitive motion, pulling, gripping, lifting, falling. These actions strain tendons more than muscles. If the small connective tissues fail, the entire production can be delayed, and the actor risks long-term damage. To handle this, Jonathan added two movements many actors ignore: incline curls and hammer curls. On the surface, they look like vanity exercises meant to shape the arms. But in this context, they served a very different purpose. These curls strengthen the brachialis in the forearm muscles responsible for stabilizing the elbow, critical when gripping the cross or pulling body weight during intense scenes. A strong tendon doesn't make the frame look dramatic, but it prevents tears and inflammation, which is exactly what Jonathan needed. What made his routine remarkable wasn't the exercise selection. Anyone could find these movements online. What stood out was his approach. He trained with intention, not ego. He didn't count reps to show progress. He took each movement to the point of fatigue to make sure every muscle group was prepared for the unpredictable demands of set life. That mindset separated his preparation from a typical gym transformation. But there was another challenge he had to confront: the emotional and physical toll of exhaustion. Long filming days, fluctuating schedules, and the constant pressure of maintaining performance intensity can drain any actor. For years, Jonathan admitted he functioned on limited sleep, often pushing through fatigue out of necessity. But this time, he made a different choice. He treated sleep as one of the most important parts of his preparation. This shift wasn't just about feeling rested. Proper sleep repairs muscle tissue, stabilizes mood, sharpens focus, and improves emotional resilience. For an actor portraying one of the most devastating moments in Scripture, clarity and emotional presence were essential. Without rest, his body wouldn't recover from daily training, and his mental foundation would weaken. By improving his sleep routine, Jonathan wasn't just building physical endurance, he was protecting the emotional depth required for the role. When the director called action, he needed to be fully present, not surviving on caffeine or leftover energy. Over time, these habits produced a transformation that viewers immediately noticed. Jonathan lost more than 10 kilograms. His posture shifted, his movements became lighter and more controlled. He looked less like an actor preparing for a role and more like someone whose lifestyle mirrored the physical demands of ancient life. Nothing about his transformation felt artificial. It was the product of discipline, repetition, and humility. Most importantly, his body became capable of enduring the crucifixion scenes without breaking under the pressure of long hours and heavy retakes. The final result on screen wasn't polished muscle, it was honest fatigue, genuine struggle, and the kind of physical weariness that makes a performance believable. Jonathan didn't transform for applause. He did it because he believed the moment he was portraying deserved honesty. As Jonathan's preparation progressed, something deeper began to emerge. Not just a stronger body, but a clearer sense of purpose. The simplicity of his routine forced him to reflect on why he was doing any of this in the first place. Many actors transform themselves for visual impact. Jonathan was transforming himself for truth. Portraying Jesus during the crucifixion is unlike any other role. It carries emotional weight, historical weight, and spiritual weight. Millions of people around the world have personal attachments to those scenes. Some find hope in them, others find healing. Many carry memories of how those moments changed their own lives. Jonathan understood that he wasn't just playing a character. He was representing a story that shapes faith for nearly half of the world's population. That responsibility influenced every part of his training. When he walked his daily steps, he wasn't just burning calories, he was preparing for the physical exhaustion the role demanded. When he repeated pulling exercises to failure, he wasn't chasing muscle size, he was building the strength necessary to stay authentic in scenes of collapse and pain. When he prioritized rest, he wasn't being indulgent, he was protecting the emotional clarity needed to deliver the performance with sincerity. What viewers see on screen is the tip of a much larger process. For example, the cross used for filming may not weigh as much as a historical Roman cross, but it is still heavy enough to exhaust an actor when carried repeatedly for hours. Add heat, dirt, sweat, and take after take, and the strain becomes overwhelming. Many actors rely on stunt doubles or shortened filming sequences. Jonathan chose to endure the discomfort himself to keep the physical continuity of the performance intact. Directors have said that by the time they filmed the later Crucifixion shots, Jonathan's exhaustion wasn't acting, it was real. His shoulders trembled, his grip weakened, his breathing was heavy. But that is exactly what made the scene resonate. What the camera captured wasn't an actor pretending to struggle. It was a man who had trained, prepared, and pushed his body to the point where the struggle became genuine. And that brings us to the core of his transformation: discipline over complexity. Jonathan's routine wasn't filled with trendy workouts, expensive meal plans, or dramatic physical stunts. Instead, it was built on choices that anyone could make. Walk consistently, train the back and shoulders with basic movements. Strengthen the small muscles that prevent injury. Sleep enough to recover physically and emotionally. Stay grounded in purpose. This approach may not look cinematic behind the scenes, but it created a performance that felt grounded and human on screen. By the end of his preparation, Jonathan had built more than endurance. He developed a way of moving, light when needed, stable when required, and visibly fatigued in moments that demanded authenticity. Viewers could feel the weight of the cross not because it was heavy, but because the man carrying it had prepared with intention. His transformation shows that sometimes the simplest methods produce the most honest results. Jonathan Roumie's preparation for the crucifixion scenes is a reminder that the most powerful work doesn't always come from dramatic methods or impressive visuals. Sometimes it comes from simple, consistent choices made day after day. His routine wasn't built on extremes. It wasn't designed to impress. It was shaped by a desire to serve the story with honesty. He committed to walking thousands of steps not because it was fashionable, but because it matched the life Jesus would have lived. He relied on basic exercises because they built real-world durability, not cinematic muscle. He took sleep seriously because he knew the emotional clarity mattered just as much as physical strength. And above all, he transformed himself, not for appearance, but for authenticity in the end. What you see on screen is more than an actor carrying a cross. It is the result of purpose, intention, and respect for a story that millions hold sacred. His portrayal feels real because his preparation was real. Viewers can sense when an actor's body is truly strained, when fatigue is genuine, when effort is honest. Jonathan allowed himself to feel that weight, not to dramatize it, but to reflect it faithfully. And maybe that is the deeper lesson here. Transformation, whether physical, emotional, or spiritual, doesn't require perfection. It requires clarity. When you know why you are doing something, the path becomes simpler. Even if it is not easy, Jonathan's training shows that discipline and purpose can create a result far more meaningful than anything driven by vanity or ambition. So now I want to hear from you. After learning how Jonathan prepared and why he chose such a humble, demanding approach, which part of his journey impacted you the most? Your perspective adds depth to this conversation. Share your thoughts below.